Hello viewers, this is Paladin of Odin, and this is some more Magic the Gathering Online. This is another episode of the Standard Commentary series, and it looks like we've got Rakdos Aggro versus Gruul Aggro. Now, just from what I've seen, Gruul Aggro should have a slight advantage in that their creatures typically end up being a little bit bigger and are a little more resilient. Ooh, Attune with Aether, followed by Harnessed Lightning on the Stormkirk Condemned. Unfortunately, discarding a card, giving him +1/+1 to put him up to a 3/3, and he can only do that once, so with the energy in the bank, he was never going to survive. But now Gruul has 5 energy, and Voltaic Brawler, and Brawler only takes 1 energy to buff himself up after an attack, so 1 energy makes him a 4/3 trample, gets in for 4. Now, the good news is that Rakdos is a black and red deck, which means that he has access to all the burn spells and all the creature kill spells that he could possibly want, making a 3/2 not really that challenging to kill. Smuggler's Copter. Well, if he could throw down a 1-cost creature. Okay, Lightning Axe, discarding a swamp, gets rid of the Voltaic Brawler. I was going to say, 1-cost creature, that way you can buff or you can man up the Smuggler's Copter. Bristling Hydra. Now, Hydra is not nearly as effective as Voltaic Brawler, as its ability costs 3 energy, and it only gives you 3 energy, but its effect is permanent except for the hexproof. But again, you know, a 4/3 really isn't that hard to kill, it's just a matter of being able to do it when he doesn't have 3 energy available to give it hexproof. Olivia, mobilized for war, mans up the Smuggler's Copter so he can attack in. Bristling Hydra does not have flying or reach, so the Copter will get in for 3 damage, let him draw a card and discard a card. And if he's lucky, he'll get something like Fiery Temper, and even though you know he's going to use the energy, in a situation like that, I'd still hit the Hydra to force him to use the energy. That way he's 3 less energy in the bank, so that you're more likely to be able to kill it later on. But he hits Drana he discards Drana instead. Ooh, Lathnu Hellion. Comes in, gives him 2 energy, puts it up to 9 energy in the bank. But more importantly, now he's attacking with 2 4-power creatures, and he's got 9 energy. 2 energy is going to have to go to the Hellion every turn. So, back down to 7. But Rakdos is at 8. So, you know, spending the 2 mana on a 4/4 that, you know, might die, which would save him the cost of the energy, or it'll get through and deal 4 damage. So, Rakdos is in a bit of a spot here. 8 life, 3 cards in hand. He really does need to kill a creature here. And unfortunately, the Hellion has 4 toughness, which is just a little bit harder to deal with. Now, something like an Unlicensed Disintegration would work perfectly here. Heir of Falkenrath. Okay. Vampire. Is he going to discard a card? No, he's not. Andrana. Well, he's got vampires. Unfortunately, none of them are big enough to stand up to either of these creatures, though in combination, you know, he could double block the Hellion and kill it. He'd have to double block, well, he'd have to triple block the Bristling Hydra to guarantee a kill. And unfortunately, that would wipe his board. Well, excuse me. 6, 2, 5. Actually, no, it would leave him with one creature, and it would be the Heir of Falconwrath. He'd take 4 damage and be able to kill off the Hydra. And there's another Hydra. Okay, never mind. That's another 3 energy. So he would have to triple block the Hydra, and he would lose all of his creatures. And still take 4 damage from the Hellion. Now, if he double blocks the Hellion and doesn't block the Hydra, that's 3 activations, that's 7 damage. Or he can't, well, it would mean losing a card, but at the same time it would be getting a buff. Basically swapping a 2-1 for a 3-3. More power and toughness to throw in there against the other creatures. And that's what he's going to do. So 2 3-3s and a 2-3 versus a 4-4 and a 4-3, and the 4-3 is most likely going to get buffed at least once. Oh, just going to chump block with the Smuggler's Copter and take 4 damage. Well, it preserves most of his board. He'll live for another turn. But this next card has got to be something really helpful. Because, 3 damage, 4, well, it would be 2, plus 4 is 6. And then if he discards a card, that'd be another 4, that'd be 10. He still won't have enough to kill. And he pays for the Hellions, so down to 5 energy. Okay, drew his card, chose not to attack, chose not to play anything. Aether Torch Renegade. 4 energy, and yeah, his last ability. As soon as he lost Summoning Sickness, boom, to the face, 6 damage, done. So, Rakdos concedes. Let's move on to game 2. That was a little bit slow, and unfortunately, what I was talking about at the beginning of the game came to be. The Rakdos creatures tend to be just a little bit smaller than the Gruul creatures and a little bit less resilient. Now, unfortunately for Rakdos, he did have to mulligan down to 6 cards, and typically this hurts aggro decks more than any other deck archetype because, the whole point of the deck is to throw out as much as possible, as fast as possible, and you're down 1 card already. But he did have a first turn drop in the Falconwrath Gorger. And attacks in for 2. And passes the turn. Gruul throws down a Voltaic Brawler. This guy is incredibly good value for a 2-cost creature. Ooh, response from Rakdos. Lightning Axe to kill off the creature, and discards Fiery Temper so he can Madness that straight to his face for 3 more damage. So Gruul is down to 15. So, good tempo from Rakdos here, and good control. He's keeping the board clear. He's keeping Gruul from building up any board presence. Unfortunately, he's running out of cards. Lathnu Hellion. Well, that gives him 2 energy, puts it up to 4. He'll lose 2 at the end of the turn, so he'll have 1 more turn with the Hellion unless he can come up with some more energy. But the Hellion strikes in for 4, so Rakdos is down to 16. But at the moment, that's one of the things that he can do is take damage in place of, running out of other resources. Because a lot of people don't realize your life total is a resource. So, Heir of Falconwrath attacks in for 2 with the Gorger, takes Gruul down to 11. Things are looking okay for Rakdos. The problem is that his opponent has 6 cards in hand, well, now 5. He's got 4 mana to work with on this turn. We know that he can throw down creatures like Voltaic Brawler, Servant of the Conduit, cheap early creatures with decent bodies that give him more energy. Harness Lightning to kill off the Heir of Falconwrath. No response from Rakdos. So that puts him up to 3 energy. Lathnu Hellion attacks in for 4, gets through, burns 2 more energy. But now they're both pretty much on even card terms. But more importantly, Rakdos really needs... I mean, it would be nice if he had gotten this mana earlier, but this way he can play bigger things as he moves along, but at the same time, he's got a lot of cheap things that he could throw out if he can draw them. So, at the moment, he needs gas, because he needs to pour on the damage as fast as he can, because he's got Gruul slowed down. Oh, crap. Verdurous Gearhulk. 8/8 trample for 5 mana. And in comes 4 more damage from the Hellion, putting Rakdos down to 8. He does have the 2 energy to pay for the Hellion, so he does. And Rakdos really needs to kill this 8/8. Unlicensed Disintegration. Okay, so gets rid of the 8/8 scary creature. Keeps the Falconwrath Gorger on defense. Basically puts Gruul... Oh, crap. Another one. Now, as we saw, he was able to kill the last one. No big deal. So, Hellion attacks in for 4. Gorger blocks. Gorger will die. He doesn't have the energy to pay for the Hellion, so the Hellion's going to die. And Rakdos needs an answer for this Gearhulk. He's done it before. He can do it again, but if he doesn't, he's pretty much dead. Ooh, and a land. Didn't really need that right now. Another Lightning Axe Fiery Temper would be really nice, because he could 5 damage from the Axe, 3 damage from Fiery Temper, and hit Gearhulk with all of it. Bloodhall Priest. Well, that'll absorb 4 damage, but this is... Oh, never mind. Target creature you control gains Vigilance and Trample. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. I was about to say, it's a Gruul aggro deck, so he's got to have buffs in his hand, and it's not going to take much to go over the top of the Bloodhall Priest, and he had a pretty damn good answer. It wasn't a buff, but basically allowed the Gearhulk to punch the vampire out of his way before he even attacked. So, unfortunately, like I said at the start of the game, or start of the match, Gruul has an advantage over Rakdos aggro, because it's creatures, third time I've said it, last time I'll say it for this video, they're a little bit bigger and a little bit more resilient than the other side. So unfortunately for Rakdos, this is just one of those matchups that really isn't all that good for him. They can win, and they have plenty of options for being able to kill creatures, which is what you have to do in that situation. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough of them, and that's what happens sometimes. So I'm going to end the video here. That was Rakdos Aggro versus Gruul Aggro, and if you liked what you saw, hit that like and subscribe button for me, and I will see you in the next video.